Hey you guys, welcome back and I hope you guys are doing great. So today I'm going to be reviewing a foundation, but before that I just want to say I feel like in my previous video, in attempts to not show my braces so much, I just did not smile at all, and that is probably going to happen unconsciously, but it looks like I'm just mad at people while making that video, which I'm really not. I was enjoying filming that. So if things look similar today and I look like I'm mad, just so you know, it's because of the braces. So yeah, let's get started with the actual video. Today I'm going to review a foundation that has been on my wish list for a long time, but in 2021 I made it a point to buy it and I finally got it. So let's get started with the details. The full name is Nykaa Skinshield Anti-Pollution Matte Foundation and it retails for 799 rupees. I personally got this particular shade for 599. I tried to keep a track of two different shades. I was originally not gonna buy this shade, which is 13 Foxy Chestnut. I was planning to buy True Toffee, but that shade just wouldn't come back in stock for the longest time. I tried for a month, then I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna get the darker shade, and you do get 30 ml of product. I know there has been controversies around does this actually contain 30 ml of product, and maybe if this video does well, I will buy another foundation and check the weight and how much foundation the whole tube actually has, but I'm not promising anything. It might be a year later. For now, this does say it contains 30 ml. Let's move on to the actual product and let's talk about the packaging. At first I thought the packaging was pretty unique and very good, to be honest, considering it's from Nykaa and I've seen their other packagings be very generic, and then I came to know that it has been copied from NARS. So yeah, is the packaging good? Yes, it's a tube and you get the foundation. Very convenient, not messy at all, but at the same time it is copied from a different brand. The shade range, they have 15 shades, which is one of the better shade ranges available in India. I'm sure they can do better than 15 shades, especially because this is the 13th shade. So after me there are only 2 shades darker, but for now I would like to appreciate them for doing the bare minimum and having 15 different shades. This is a medium coverage foundation, and for the shade, as I mentioned, is 13 Foxy Chestnut. And let me just announce my stupidity. So if you have been following me for a while, you know that I had the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation in Toffee Pecan. In every video that I talked about that, I've complained about how much that foundation is a neutral undertone and I wish it was a yellow undertone. So because the 12 True Toffee shade wasn't available in this, my natural instinct was to go buy Foxy Chestnut. This is also a neutral undertone foundation, which I only realized once I actually swatched it on my face. So 2 years of complaining about how neutral undertone foundations do not suit me, I ended up making the same exact mistake. Thankfully the coverage is medium and that's why it doesn't shine through so much, but I wish this was a hair lighter and of yellow undertones, and then this would be my perfect shade of foundation. Also, this is formulated in Italy, but the country of origin is still India for this. So I think anyone who is bothered by the whole made in India, made in China thing will be fine with this. Let's talk about the formula now. I'm starting with application. Application is absolutely beautiful. One of the smoothest application I've experienced in a long time, and honestly maybe it's just because this foundation isn't matte. Like, it does say to be matte, but I personally would put it in the category of demi matte, and I think even with that it depends on what base you're putting underneath it. So if you have a mattifying primer, mattifying sunscreen, I don't think this will look as dewy, while as if you're using a dewy sunscreen, I think this will look a lot more glowy. I feel like it's really good at adapting, but at the same time on its own I think I would describe it as demi matte rather than matte. It blends in really nicely, especially with a brush. I did use it with a sponge, but I think I prefer a brush. The coverage on this is already medium, as I mentioned, but if you use a sponge, it dilutes the coverage even more than I would personally like. Apart from being a medium coverage, if you think it's gonna cover your hyperpigmentation, I don't think it's gonna cover it entirely. It does not claim to do so, but if you have little bit of uneven skin tone, your forehead is a different color than the rest of your face, I think this would really work well on that. But if you're trying to cover your acne, extreme hyperpigmentation, I don't think this is the foundation you wanna go for. And also the foundation does not feel heavy on your skin at all. If anything, I like how it feels. It feels very lightweight. It doesn't feel like you have applied anything. It looks so skin-like on me. I think I really like it. For all skin types, I think this would be a good foundation to indulge in. If you do, however, have dry patches, this will cling to them, but this is definitely a better situation than what an extremely mattifying foundation like the Superstay foundation would do. So yeah, moisturize well and I think it should be fine. Coming on to, is it mask proof? No. Does it transfer? Yeah, it absolutely does transfer. Is it waterproof? no, if that bothers you, especially in the rainy season, do not buy this. And as far as the staying power goes, it does last on me for 5 to 6 hours, after which I feel like I notice a lot of fading. If you have set this with a powder, it will definitely last better. Let's come on to the claims of this foundation now. The first one is anti-pollution. Unfortunately, I cannot test this claim out. Additional protection is nice, but if you're trying to protect your skin from the pollution, I would much rather prefer to stay and depend on my skincare than a foundation, which you don't use a lot of. Next is it has satin matte finish. I agree. As I mentioned, it's demi matte, but satin matte might be a better way to put that in. This also claims to be deep hydration and then reduce your pore sizes. I personally do not have a big issue with my pores, so unfortunately I cannot comment on that. But as of deep hydration, I don't think this adds deep hydration, but this also does not dry out my skin. Again, I would much prefer to depend on my skincare for these purposes rather than a foundation. So yeah, I think the claims are just fine. There are some that I cannot honestly check properly, and things like demi matte, yeah, that's just a feature of this. So yeah, those were the claims that they had on their website. Now let's talk about if the brand has any issues. So we all know Nykaa is necessarily a very clean and very, I don't really know how to put this without sounding rude. I know you guys probably know what I mean. I wish some of the designs weren't so similar to the other previous existing designs that I would be reminded of them instantly after looking at them. Like this foundation, if I knew about the NARS foundation before, I don't think I would have been like, oh, this is a great packaging and stuff. I saw the NARS foundation later on, and that's when I realized, wow, this is the exact same thing. I wish they stopped copying things. It is what it is. That is the only brand issue I could personally find. I think I'm gonna move on to the demo now, and then we'll talk about the pros and cons. So let's start with the pro. First of all, availability. It is available on Nykaa, but Nykaa delivers everywhere in this damn country, so yeah. Next is the availability of shades. Compared to a lot of foundations that are available in the Indian market, I think this has a good shade range. Yes, they can definitely expand in the future, and I hope they do, because the foundation, I honestly think it's a really good one. So yeah, I would still think of the shade range as a pro. Third would be the application blendability. Is just so nice. Even while applying, I feel happy while doing it, so I would consider that a big pro. And the fourth one is the finish. It's such a beautiful looking foundation on your skin. It looks so natural. It makes your skin shine through, but at the same time covers just enough. I think it's a really big pro, and I'm glad I have a foundation that does that in my collection now. And the fifth one is, I think most skin types can use this foundation regardless of you being dry, oily or normal. I think this will be good for everyone, and yeah, you don't really have to think so much about it. Just depending on your base, make sure it matches well with the foundation, and I'm sure you'll be sorted. So I think those were the pros. Let's move to the cons now. First of all, the packaging is copied. I know this doesn't matter to a lot of people, but I still think it's a con and worth mentioning. The second would be that the staying power is generic. 5 to 6 hours is good, but I have foundations that last on me for a little longer. I'm sure mixing in foundations will do the trick, but on its own, I wish this lasted a little bit longer than my usual foundations. I'm still not as mad though, considering the finish, considering how it sits on my skin. It is something that I anticipate, so yeah. That is another con. Both of these don't bother me so much. As I mentioned, I'm just mentioning it for your information purposes. So yeah, I think that is it for the review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys found this foundation review helpful. If you have bought this, let me know how you like it. And if you have another foundation recommendation, maybe something with a higher coverage, leave it in the comment section down below. I would like to try another foundation because my Superstay is also about to be done. And I'm kinda interested in trying new things instead of repurchasing it. Please like, comment and subscribe. It all helps a lot. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.